This is the week in review for Bitcoin stocks, gold, and silver for the week of December 10th. This is Dan Max, the trading agent. This is a stock trading and recap channel that I wanted to share to the masses. In a probability game, there's no certainty. Here are my insights and predictions. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the trading agent. This is the weekend recap for the week in review of December 6th through December 10th. Hope everyone had a great week. Trading went well. It's been a little sloppy and choppy, but yeah, let's go over everything. You know, Bitcoin, stocks, gold, silver, all the kit and caboodle. Here's the Discord room. Again, I recommend if anyone has questions, comments, thoughts, please jump in. If I'm here, my friends are around, we will gladly help you out, answer questions as we can. I know trading feels like a lonely thing, but it doesn't have to be. And again, ultimately, you are alone when you hit the enter button to buy or sell, but there's people around here to help. So let's jump into it. So what I'm going to start doing is jumping into briefing.com. I use this to get a reference of what's coming up next week as to the earnings and all sorts of fun stuff. I mean, this is $540 a year. I appreciate it because I get news just blasted to me during the day. So as things pop up, for example, live in play here, you know, anything related to companies, stocks. I mean, here are the headlines, and then I can get like deeper information on it. Again, I will be posting that I know this stuff. I can't copy their stuff, but I will always be referencing this kind of stuff so I know what's going on in the market. So if you have ever questions about what's coming up, economic, earning wise, just in general, you know where to find me. Let's go into next week because there's really not a lot of information that to me is really that important. You can see the trade balance and all this stuff. This is this week. Next week, there's still not a ton of stuff that I think is really that important. The PPI comes out on Tuesday. Retail sales could be important, but again, every miss makes me think that the Fed is likely not to raise rates or tighten as quickly. I'm interested because, you know, I'm in real estate. I'll be watching the housing start and the building permits because, I mean, we have an inventory shortage, obviously. But this is the big dog. FOMC rate decision. I don't think they're going to do anything, but they might talk about tapering. They might talk about all sorts of things. That's the day that the metals, the markets, Bitcoin, everything's going to start moving. So until then, I wouldn't expect too big of moves either way. I think there will be some backfilling in the market, but we'll talk about that shortly. Let's jump into Bitcoin. Good old Bitcoin. It seems to be holding pretty well here around one of the old fibs at 47,000. I'm not a big fan of TradingView. I think their stuff is great for free, but in general, it's pretty shitty. It's the 50% fib. Let me zoom in here. And we talked about some of the lines that we're drawing here. If you got entries at 47,200 area, they were good buys. Again, notice how it's acting pretty technical. Going into the weekend, I mean, everybody knows they love to pull the rug out on the weekend or make big moves. I would be watching, 50,000 to 47. I know that sounds like a wide range, but I would go with if it got above it, and if it goes below it, I think we could test 46. Or we could test the blowout lows, which would to me, it would happen on a lighter volume. And so this is why volume matters. You can tell everyone got blown out. I mean, that read $6 billion plus of accounts not only got blown out in the crypto market. Yeah, so someone was buying that. Think about it. If people have to liquidate, someone's buying. I would keep that in mind. Like these levels here, you see them, 47,000, 200. Next one, 46,300, and just if you get back over, I just call it 50,000. It should hold up. I'm a believer that in time it should rise, especially anything that's not dollar denominated, because you're going to see here why, and shortly that I think the dollar might be about to get shit canned. I'll do that one next. Let's keep the order. I would like to keep the order so that people who come into the videos and start watching remember kind of where things are. Talked about problems up at the 155 zone. We referenced that very much. If you zoom out, you see why. I have this support resistance zone. We hit it. We backed off. We said once we got back inside this trend line, the 20-day would hold. Well, so far it has held. It doesn't look great. It doesn't a lot of inside days. Tough to really know, but again, to me, interest rates don't matter as long as they don't move that big. Meaning, like, as long as there's not a ton of volatility, the market doesn't really care what the rates are doing because they are still historically low. The dollar, it looks like we have an awkward M pattern here. This candle here, to me, looks like the top, like the signal I'm looking for. High volume, open high, closed low. Notice how we haven't been able to make higher highs since. I'm watching this trend line in the 20-day. If that shit breaks, dollar's going to get absolutely smoked. And when do you think the dollar might get smoked? When the Fed speaks. So again, it could hold tight for a couple days. So let's get into the VIX here. We talked about this last week. Omicron symptoms were not as bad as everyone was making it out to be. People were freaking out. Did not see a crash risk in the 30s. And wow, have we unwound that quickly. I don't know if it's going to just go right back to the bottom. If I had to play the odds, we're going to get a bounce. Hence, the next action I'd like to talk about is the SPY. Did a video alert about this. I honestly thought we'd pull back to the 20-day today. We had a long wick. We retested a 2-day range low, but we did close at higher highs. I think some point next week the VIX will spike. We will see a SPY drop. I think at worst the 20-day maybe fill the gap again. I don't know. I would keep that in mind. I would not be chasing the SPY. That's for darn sure. QQQ. Under 400, same kind of thing. I would just is what it is. Be careful. I'm not a bull or a bear. I'll be bullish if you can get down the lows, and if it pops back up pretty quickly, I might look to short some things. Same with the SPY. We're just in between zones. I don't want to play. I don't want to over trade. I tell that people all the time, like, in between the highs and the lows, there's just not really much to do unless you're day trading. And I don't do a ton of day trading because it's a waste of time. I can't go big on it, and it doesn't pay as well. Because if you go big on day trading, you were putting yourself at risk of getting slammed by the news. The GLD, this is a no-brainer gift. Keep in mind, I did a video on this, why it's probably basing. You have the seasonality, tax loss selling, the Fed, and quad OPEX. So, the dollar cracks, gold starts rallying. I like it here. You can buy it aggressively. I've been buying it here, bought some down here, and then I realized it wasn't going to go this week. There was no momentum, so we're going to retest at some point next week. I will be looking to stomp. Let's get into silver, because this is another one that I want to stomp hard, get into. I like this, the no-brainer buy zone. Look at the SLV. You got anywhere in the 20 to 19 area. Could we pull back to the 18s, the old highs from 2019? Anything's possible. This whole year has been shitty, and that is what it is. But it's time to buy. Check my seasonality out. Check that video out. Just know why that I'm getting aggressive, and I'm talking aggressively. It's a good buy in the 20s, 19s. GDX monthly, we are in what I consider a buy zone. You can see pretty clearly this area is support or resistance. I know that seems like a wide range, but you have to. The miners are basing. You see the lower trend line in 50-month. If those come into play at 28s, please don't be scared to buy aggressively with a stop. That's trading. That's what you want to do. You buy low, you sell high. Same thing with the GDXJ monthly. You're coming into lower channel trend line. Just trust that it'll hold. And if it doesn't, have your stop. That's what you trust ultimately, is your stops. I tell people that all the time. If you see anything near 40, just take. Be willing to start stabbing. And again, let's get into this real quick. When I mean stabbing at it, you're stabbing pieces. You don't go all or nothing. You start accumulating. Just like when you have to sell the highs because you've had a stock or trade going really well, you should start liquidating or hedging. Well, same thing. You should be starting to buy the miners aggressively down here. And if you bought them earlier, hopefully you didn't go as aggressive. That's one of the things we talk about is you have stops and you look for levels. Let's roll through the miners quick. AG, double bottom, anywhere in the 10s. If you zoom out, you can see there is some support here. in these levels, in the 10s and the 11s. I mean, I don't have the lines drawn because this is in my primary computer, but trust me, this is in the kill zone, as I would call it. Good old KL. Man, this is so funny. I mean, I think I guess I have to remove the W pattern because now it's just a big ass chop pattern, and I got stopped out at the 50-day here on some of my trades. I mean, it was sadly, but you know what? Guess what? Now you can just reload hard entries. You know, like strong 37s. Keep it simple. Let's pass. I mean, we'll get more into the metals and miners next week because at this point we got to see how the action plays out. There's going to be a lot of flushing and choppiness. Pass, head and shoulders, bottom. I mean, anywhere in the mid 23s. Deal or no deal, right? X makes this spectacular. If you that reference, leave a comment below. Like this 22 area, I would leave X alone until you break the downtrend. I know that there's like multiples here, but the 20-day and these trends, I mean, that let it compress under here. This thing can be a widely coyote. This thing can go nuts before it goes nuts. VALE, this is one that we've been right on pretty well. I mean, double bottom, breaking, acting really well in this market. Don't chase it. Look for pullbacks. Again, we talked about the 0.25 hitting up. It was going to base and back off. It has. Let's roll into the sectors that have me the most concerned in the market, and that's tech. Oh man, we're going to roll into a lot of I told you so's, except for one. This whole red channel said you need to start taking profits on AMD. Now the 20 days rolling over. The easy money's been made. I don't know what to tell people who are like, oh, should I buy it here? I mean, I guess you could buy it in the 135s. But I wouldn't. I mean, I would just let it play out. I mean, look how long that took to play out. You know, like that peak. I mean, reversion to the mean nothing goes up always. Things change. Let's get into the one I've been wrong about, but listen, hey, we got some ideas of why. I thought the upper trend line in red would play out, would be the top. Put an alert on that. Trust me, I'm not going to tell you I'm always right. And if anyone does, you just run away. We figured out why. We zoomed out to the monthly, which, hey, I made a mistake. Should have noticed. Hey, look at that. There's a more powerful upper trend line because that's the monthly. Plays out, you know, I think the 190s seems pretty logical. We'll see. I mean, Apple, the fruit, whatever you want to call it, it's raising prices. Maybe they're doing well in this economy. I mean, Apple's just immune, I guess. We'll see. MicroStrategy. If Bitcoin is bottoming, this 590, 580, 560 range, you should be buying it with a stop. They bought more Bitcoin this week. I think they also took out a loan, which I love. Borrowing money, borrowing fiat to buy Bitcoin. That's like borrowing money to buy real estate or borrowing money to buy gold. You probably have very little downside depending on where your entry is and how you manage it. I like that play for them. Market probably doesn't. They're going to try to penalize them short term, but whatever. That's pretty freaking awesome. RIVN, this is one where I think a short squeeze is coming. 123 to 106. It could base out. If you get another chance at 106, I think you should buy it. I think it's going to squeeze at some point. It got super bearish right after its IPO. I don't necessarily know how to value the company because at this point I stopped valuing companies because it didn't make any sense because I've been trading a long time and you tell me what Tesla's valued at and then come back to me. Show me that magic formula. Roblox. This is another I told you show. Got to take your profits. 2 times range hit. We talked about the compression under the trend line. It broke out. You're back testing old trend lines, 20-day. The easy money's been made. I would wait. I mean, maybe you get some 103. I mean, maybe touch the gap. I mean, this whole little. I mean, if you get in the 93s, you might start accumulating. Just keep in mind, it's got to work off weekends. Tesla, man, Elon is just unloading stock and retail's buying it. That's just so funny because the dude is one of the best managers of his own stock. If you study him and know him from PayPal and his future or previous endeavors, dude is good at buying low and selling high, and he is unloading up here. And if you aren't, then I don't know what you're thinking. That's like, it just doesn't make sense. The dude has a track record of just knowing how his stock runs. Study him and just don't look at the headlines. If he's unloading, you should be probably taking profit. PENN, this is interesting. I did an alert on the website, said if you get over the 20-day, I think this is going to be a short squeeze. It's got the potential. There's a lot of oversold conditions we're dealing with here. When it's ready, it's going to compress. I mean, there's days like here, this thing went from 63 up to 73. A 10-point move is not out of the norm for a day. I'm looking for that. I've been buying it down here. I'm a little early. I might buy it the day that it breaks out hard, but we'll see what happens. Let's get into EXP. The company that I work for real estate, virtual company, they're doing great. I mean, that's public knowledge. I like it here in the 30s, 33 area. I think it could compress and pop. If you study real estate stocks, they typically bottom in December and make runs up into the spring. I mean, that was an extraordinary one because of COVID. But if you look on Zillow and some of the other stocks, it's the same kind of move. Let's end it on the oil names real quick. And let's talk about, because this is interesting, because you got down to the 100-day after channel high, right? Now it's chopping. Now the 20-day is turning down. So this is the problem. 20 days now acting as resistance. So just keep that in mind. I would be waiting for it to base out. I think it could go. I mean, you notice what happens after it's like, and then chop, 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 then the buy. Let's end it with Exxon Mobil because this will give me a reference to something I look for. Because I was recommending if it broke out, buy it. I wouldn't buy it today. And the reason why I wouldn't, because I don't like the volume. I want to see volume when I break a downtrend. It doesn't always happen, but that's ideally what you want to see. I mean, you want to see the volume, and that's one of the things. Like you bounce, you back test, then the volume, and then you went. Apple is a great example of a breakout with volume because this is something that I love to identify to confirm because volume means demand. We had this like green downtrend and we said don't buy it here, don't buy it. Well, what happened? Well, I mean, what ultimately happened with Apple is a classic example of a breakout. Oh, Jesus, stop running away from me with volume. Notice what happened. It just compressed under there. I mean, under that green trend line, and then wham, breakout. Those are the ones you should be more confident in. When you don't have the volume, you can expect choppy, sloppy, all over the place action, and that's like, I mean, referring to PENN. Like, if we get over the 20-day and we break this kind of down triggered like formation, it needs to get over the 20-day, and I want to see it lift with volume. I want to see big volume. I don't want to see light volume. All right, well, I hope this helps, man. I hope everyone has a great week, great weekend. I might do some live videos. And hey, if you are new to the channel, new to trading, new to just in general trading and studying the internet through the internet, YouTube, stop by the channel. I mean, we're here to help. I love to help people trade because it makes me better. Doing this way too long, meaning almost 20 years. I've seen everything. And if you are new to trading, or even been trading for a long time, but you kind of see there's a struggle in it, keep in mind, like, this is no different than walking into the gym to play basketball and you just touched a basketball for the first time. Do you think you can really dominate against the pros? Do you think you can go against the institutions, the hedge funds, the mutual funds, the managers that have hundreds of millions of dollars at disposal for information, research, and just gaining insight into the markets and specific companies? Like, no. So you have to figure out what your edge is. I know what the edge is. It's volume, price analysis, and just experience, because all we're trying to do is swim in the whale's wake. Stop by the Discord room. It's in the description below. Please subscribe and share with your friends. I mean, again, if you think I'm wrong, come talk to me about it. Call me out. I don't care. I'm gonna be wrong. I'm trying to hit 85% probabilities. Like Jeffrey Gunlock, one of the best traders, institutional traders in the world, he talks about it. He's like, if I can hit 80% of the trades in my funds, he's like, we're killing it. That's all you need to do, is especially if you know how to leverage and play the game correctly, you're not flipping coins. It's not 50-50. All right, Dan Max here. Hit me up. Stop on by the Discord room. I appreciate everybody. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like the content. Also smash the like button, share with your friends, and add a comment. If there's a topic or stock you'd like me to give you insight about, let me know in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer your question. Thanks.